Hired the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. McHenry.
Thank you, Chairman Biggert. Mr. Stevens, are HUD and the administration currently contemplating any loan modification or principal reduction programs or changes?
So we are not contemplating at this point any new modification programs, as it were. I think it's important. FHA has always operated in a very unique way. We have a long history of modification programs that have.
But certainly you'd be a part of that discussion if they change these.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you aware of any, let me just restate this one more time to give you an opportunity. Are you aware of HUD or the administration contemplating any new loan modification or principal reduction programs in connection with a possible resolution of the current federal and state attorney general review of the robo-signing related problems at the major banks?
Thank you for that clarification of your question. We are in discussion with 11 regulators, the state attorneys general, the Department of Justice, in talking directly about several large servicers that we've publicly mentioned in terms of this effort working together, with one possibility being joining in some sort of settlement with these institutions. Now, this is premature. There would not be necessarily any new program created that doesn't exist already in anything we've been discussing.
Would there be new funds?
There would not be new funds associated with this program, with any settlement that we've been discussing to date. So let me just step back for a moment, because it's very important we be very careful about what's said in this regard. We have a significant foreclosure crisis. We have been doing, all the regulators, especially since the robo-signing news that became so prevalent in the fall, have all gone on site and done various levels of investigating or looking into servicer performance standards. Most of the regulators have found something that some may not have. We were very prominent at HUD stating that we had found some irregularities and variable performance. And there's two ways we can go about coming to a conclusion here. We can work with the other regulators to try to come up with one set of solutions that, assuming that the general outcomes findings are the same, or we can go individually, and that process is being worked through right now. But none of this involves federal funds. If any settlement will be, or any fines or penalties will be assessed to institutions in due course based on the authorities that we currently have at HUD, for example.
Can you describe, I mean, you've described the consideration. Will you commit that any such programs that are proposed and funded through the regular budget process with Congress and subject to congressional authorization, will you come back to us for authorization?
So if I started to answer with specificity, but I would like to make sure that I am not saying something that's incorrect. If there's anything associated with a potential settlement that involves the creation of a new program or new subsidies, I will absolutely come back.
So with the settlement money, how will you allocate that? Will you come back to Congress for authorization on how that is allocated?
The settlement money would be penalties assessed to institutions based within our existing authorities at HUD. We have assessed penalties or taken action against over 1,800 institutions since I've become FHA Commissioner. We have a mortgagee review board that assesses penalties on a monthly basis. I certainly understand that.
But we're talking about a larger magnitude than those previous numbers. Will you come back to Congress with authorization of how to allocate those resources?
If authorization is required, we will come back to Congress.
I am asking you, will you come back regardless of what you think your current opportunity is under the law to ask for authorization?
I cannot commit to that at this time.
Okay. Ms. Caldwell, I want to follow up with you about this same. Are you a part of these discussions as well?
I'm a part of some of them, but not all of them. I'm generally aware.
Generally aware. What is your awareness on how this will come about? or what will come about, rather?
Well, I think it's important to keep in mind that, while Treasury is one of the federal agencies that is involved in the process, Treasury is not a primary regulator of any of the institutions. So we do not have the authority, as Mr. Stevens referenced, that HUD may have. So we are a convening body.
What part of the discussions are you involved in?
We're involved in both the discussions with the servicers as they relate to the HAMP program and the discussions among those agencies that have chosen to describe some of the things that they have found.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman